Cooking science.
Excellent. Well, today we're going to make egg drop soup. It's a very simple but delicious recipe. But first, AJ, release the bicarbonate.
Yes, sir.
Ha ha ha. Release the bicarbonate.
It's alive.
Egg drop soup requires only 4 simple ingredients.
First, some vegetable stock.
Eggs.
Zea, maize, or corn.
And
allium,
or onion. So to prepare the egg drop soup, first bring your broth to a boil.
Then you prepare these vegetables, and then chop the corn and cut these up.
And then we'll scramble the eggs. So to remove the corn kernels from this cob, take a sharp chef's knife and just simply cut down the side into a bowl.
So to recap, we have our onions that are cut, corn kernels, and our beat eggs.
So once the broth has come to a simmer, you can add the corn kernels.
Yes.
Stir them in nicely. The secret to egg drop soup is to stir at a constant pace and slowly pour in the eggs. As you pour them in, the eggs will turn into those nice ribbons that you know from the Chinese restaurant.
Voila.
Finally, pour in the onions, saving just a few to decorate your bowls with.
You?
Serve the soup while it's fresh and hot. Ladle it into the bowls.
Very.
Top off with a few onions. And some fresh black pepper. And bon appetit! Good.
Now for the explanation. Eggs are mostly water and protein called omevucoids. Proteins are made of long chains of amino acids called polymers. The proteins in an egg white are globular proteins, which means that the long protein molecule is twisted and folded and curled up into a spherical shape. Weak chemical bonds keep the protein curled up.
When we heat the proteins, we break the weak bonds that kept the globular proteins curled up. The egg proteins uncurl and bump into other proteins that have also uncurled. New chemical bonds form, but rather than binding the protein to itself, these bonds connect one protein to another. They form a network of interconnected proteins which become the beautiful and tasty ribbons in the egg drop soup. Let's revisit what happens when we're making the egg drop soup. Like I said, the secret is to slowly and constantly pour the eggs into your simmering broth. Here, so that it's easier to see, we'll use plain water in a glass container. Now, As I stir carefully, AJ is going to pour the eggs in, which, as you have heard, changes the nature of the protein so that the proteins bond together into the ribbons that you have in the soup.
Thanks to Blue Ribbon
For making this opportunity possible. Thanks also to our resources on the internet, particularly the Exploratorium in San Francisco, and the inspiration from Sean Connolly's Totally Irresponsible Science for Young Scientists. And thanks, of course, to our filmmaker, Anna Bauer. AJ, will you share the secret of your Frankenstein's hand?
Of course. So, take baking soda. Pour baking soda into the and now, I'm going to get a cup and some vinegar. So what's going to happen, the reason why the glove sticks up is because of the mix of baking soda and vinegar, which makes carbon dioxide.
Alright, we'll be careful not to start the reaction too early. We want to get a good seal. Release the bicarbonate.
It's alive.
Whoa!